So I have a question for the audience as people are coming in. How many Quote Wizard webinars have you been to? So just put your number. How many Quote Wizard webinars have you been to? I bet you Kelsey would want to know.
Zero. First one, 3.
Ooh, 3.
Oh.
Kelsey, we just hit 2 weeks ago, we hit our 100th webinar.
Wow.
Yesterday was 102. So 102 straight Tuesdays we've been in this chair.
Yep. And I've never been late to work one of those Tuesdays, except for
0. We've got a lot of first timers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you guys read the emails, at least. Send these invites. But you guys should definitely come to more because we have a lot of great material to offer.
How often do you do them, Kelsey?
Every single week.
Oh, every week.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you keep the recordings somewhere so they can rewatch them or?
Yes, great question. Not only do I send out the recordings after the webinar like I will do for this one, but it's also in our newsletter that we send out every month. And they're also accessible on our agent education platform, which is accessible through the agent admin portal.
Awesome.
Very simple.
Why, I'd just be curious really quick, not that we even planned on this, but why do you do these webinars? Like, why is it important for you all to bring in information to your people that subscribe to Quote Wizard?
Mostly I just crave attention, so I'm just kidding. We just thought it was really important to, offer ongoing resources. Obviously, if our agents aren't successful with our leads, our company isn't going to be successful. So any way that we can kind of help continue with the, improvement on how to work leads or just running an insurance agency in general, we want to be that helpful resource. So most of it is just us bringing on experts like you and kind of exposing people to these great third-party options that they have for training their team. But, we also do white papers that we write, and I put on like bi-weekly best practice webinars for working leads. There's a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we work with Quote Wizard. We've had a great experience. We have team members that say, every single Quote Wizard lead, like when I, those are the ones that I close. So that's awesome. They are, very excited when they see that Quote Wizard is the lead that they're working with. So we really appreciate your guys' attention to detail and then your service, because I always tell people when you're buying leads that the most important thing is the relationship with the company. Because we have to communicate. It isn't just like you buy, you just say, I want these leads and then you forget it. There's some communication that goes on in between. You offer resources like this, but there's a lot that goes into it. So when you have a company that pays attention to taking care of their customers, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that you guys appreciate that. I know we put a lot of effort into making sure that we're being supportive of our client base. So,
we appreciate it.
Of course.
Well, let's get this party started.
Absolutely. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited that everyone is joining us today. I am here with Jeremy Olson and Kristen Isaacson from Role Play at the Olson Agency. And there's absolutely no denying that the first couple seconds of a call to a prospect can either make or break how the rest of the call plays out. So we've brought in these two experts to show us best practices for how to open a call to increase your likelihood of keeping that customer on the phone. And for those few of you out there who may be unfamiliar with Role Play at the Olson Agency, RPOA is the first and only insurance training program that is live and where the topics are driven by you. So if after this you're wanting to check out their services further, I know they've got a couple special offers for you guys that you'll want to stick around for at the end. As always, I will be sending out the recording of this webinar to everyone after the fact. I usually get those out tomorrow morning, if not late this afternoon. Any questions that you have, please put them into the Q&A. If you want to make a comment or anything on what we're talking about, feel free to put it into the chat, or if that's not an option for you, the Q&A is just fine. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jeremy and Kristen to introduce us to the rest of our guests today.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thanks so much for having us back.
And I think Kelsey's going to make a guest appearance like a little bit later on too.
Yeah.
She's going to play the role of the customer.
She will. Yeah, for those of you that don't know us, just super quick. So I've been an Allstate agent for just about 25 years now out of Seattle. I've got about 40 team members and just over 40 million in premium. And I'll tell you, for the first 23 years of my career, I never bought leads. I had heard the same stuff, you know, they don't close very well, they buy bad coverage, they shop all the time. And what we're going to share with you today has really changed that. I got into leads 2 years ago, spending zero. I currently spend about $50,000 a month in leads because they really, really have made all the difference in terms of being able to grow my agency. Our close rate on leads today is 16%, and that is truly a result of what we'll share with you today. My team works every single day on the first part of the call. It is the difference between somebody being successful with leads and somebody not. There are people right in my same city that buy the same type of leads and their close rate is the typical 3, 4, 5%. But if you work on this, you have your teams work on this, you really, really can turn them into just great prospects.
Mm-hmm. And I would be curious just from people in the chat, because we are going to be talking about first impressions. Do you know how long it takes to make a good first impression on a phone call? How long do you think it takes?
5 seconds, 7 seconds, 3, 7, 3, 5, 7, 10.
Yeah. So, and you know, they say 7 seconds, but then sociology studies say that a prospect will actually decide whether they're going to buy from you within the first 30 seconds. But for everybody, if you say 1, 3, 5 seconds, it really, like, I think it's all of the above. It is like the second you start on the call. So we're going to be talking about that today. For those of you that don't know about role play at the Olson agency, Jeremy's been an insurance agent for over 25 years. I started working with him about 6 years ago, and we started implementing some training practices because of my background. My background is in sales. And then about 20 years into my career, I moved. I know it doesn't seem like I've been out there that long, but I have. I moved into professional development, working for a company called Dale Carnegie Training. And I got certified as a facilitator for Dale Carnegie and became very, very passionate about helping people with their soft skills just grow. And so basically, you know, we're taking his insurance experience and my experience with sales and soft skills facilitation, and we packaged it up into a training business. It's the exact same training that we give our team members. Marissa and Ty are actually on our team, and they're going to be role playing with us today. So they're brand new on our team. So we're kind of excited. This is our first official role play with them. And the business itself is just, we meet every week and we do role plays like what Kelsey said. The topics are driven by our customers. So if you want to know more about it, we'll give you some information at the end. But today we just want to give you something. I always say if there's just one thing you can take away every single day where you can do better, you are going to rock this career. So with that, why don't you introduce our victims?
Just to introduce, we like to call them victims. They volunteered to be on the show today. First up, we've got Marissa, who is sitting about 12 feet across the hallway from me here in downtown Seattle. This is her very first month in sales. And she also had a 21st birthday yesterday. And then we've got Ty, who actually works out of my Spokane agency, probably 250 miles away. He has been on my team also. This is also his very first month in sales. So we thought, because we know just how important this first part of the call is, we thought we would bring 2 of our own team members on so they can practice it.
Yep. And it's so funny because Marissa and I were actually talking about this last week. I had my first coaching session with her and I said, what do you think if you were to coach yourself on one thing that you think could make the most impact on what you're doing right now? What would it be? And she actually said, the beginning of the call. I just want to make it so that I don't feel awkward, that people aren't, like that there isn't any dead time. And so we're going to give a great start to the beginning of the call. The most important part is the beginning.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started now. We're going to go through some slides, and this is exactly what our we call it a show, what our weekly webinar looks like. We're going to do it exactly the same so you can get a feel for it. And hope you enjoy. Here we go.
Okay, so we talked about first impressions, and today's about those first 7 seconds of a prospecting call. But, first impression, the definition of a first impression is a first consideration or judgment. And think about that word judgment. People are judging us the second they hear us. One's initial, so that's that first perception of another person. So the initial perception of another person, they're judging like who we are based on how we say hello. It typically is involving a positive or negative evaluation. And if you think about prospecting calls, a lot of times it can be negative just from looking at your phone number. So we have some odds stacked against us because they're not expecting our call. And so with that, the biggest thing that I hear people say on my team, and just when I'm talking to agents and sales people across the country, is they say the worst part about making prospecting calls is I feel like I'm interrupting people. And it just, I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable and all that. And so with prospects, you actually are an interruption. So get over it. Because this is the thing is what are we trying to make something that's not there, make up a different story? You're calling them. They aren't expecting your call. You are interrupting them, but can you be a pleasant interruption? I think so. What do you think?
I think you can. So then we just wanted to kind of break down, 4 things are going to happen when you call somebody and you are interrupting them. So,
this happens. And this is the thing that we don't want to happen is they'll hang up. But you know what? Sometimes they hang up. I think we've all done that to people who sound like they're prospecting, sound like they're telemarketing, or they might just feel like they don't have time and they're not interested. But you can actually call back. We have some fun in our agency. Sometimes we will, if they hang up, we'll give them a call back and say, gosh, you must have been going through a tunnel or something. It looks like the call dropped. Or, oh my gosh, I hope your cell phone battery is okay. Or you probably didn't mean to hang up. Like you can call back and have a little bit of fun with it, and maybe they'll answer. It happens.
So might hang up. They might have an objection for you. They might say, I wasn't interested. Just send me something in an email, whatever it is. That's where your training comes into play. We work on these front end objections literally every single day. We are role playing them. Yesterday, we had a meeting and I was asking one of my team members who's become just super successful at working leads, of the people that give you a front end objection, either hang up, say they're not interested, whatever it is, of those, what % do you think you end up quoting? And he said about 80%. So 8 out of 10 people that literally said nope at the very beginning, he turns into a quote. And that is all because of this 7 seconds that we're going to share with you. And just mastering his craft. He spends every day working on it.
Sometimes they'll just be on the fence. They'll say, yeah, no, I'm not interested. But you can tell that they're on the fence. Or they just have a little bit of hesitation in their voice and they'll say, well, what, I don't remember even talking to you, or, it just depends on the type of lead. But if they're giving you that kind of on the fence feeling, and that's you being able to listen to their tone and really hear what they're saying instead of expecting negative, there's a possibility that you can get your foot in the door.
And the last one that we all want, but the one that probably happens the least, is they're all in and they say, man, I've been waiting for a call from an insurance agent all day long.
Yep.
Just very rarely happens, but that's our job, is to turn them and get them to be all in. So
and those are the ones that keep our team members going, because you'll hear it every once in a while. I called this guy and they were looking for insurance. It's that time and place thing that we're all waiting for, but it keeps us going. We know that it's out there, and it has to do with like our activity in order to get there. And so we have some tips, and this is something that, we've learned over time. Our close rate on actually calling leads is higher than most people, wouldn't you say, Jeremy?
Yeah, no, and I mentioned that earlier. We're currently at 16% on new leads that we talk to. And so, again, all of that boils down to just doing this stuff that we're sharing. So the first one, and this is very specific to leads, is to go into it with the mindset that your job is to literally just continue the call versus having that I've got to close this sale mindset. Mm-hmm. Don't be so attached to the outcome of the call. Rather, just focus on every second that ticks by, that goes by, is giving you a better shot at being able to quote this person and win their business over. So if you really step back and think about that, my only job on this call, keep this guy talking. Just keep him on the phone.
And every time that we have a team member that gets out of the continue the call mindset, I've had people literally call me and they'll say, I think everybody's a price shopper and I can't get out of that mindset, or I just feel really stressed because I'm not reaching my goal. And so everything is about like the sale and I'm having a hard time getting out of that mindset. That's when it's just that panic mode. I call it panicitis, and people can hear that. I always say that like prospects are like animals, like, hunting down their prey. They can tell whether you're fearful that they're not going to say yes to. You may think that you're able to mask it, but you're not. And one way to overcome that is really to simply smile and dial. When I was talking to Marissa last week, I was telling her when I used to be in sales, I had a totally different demeanor the second I got on the phone. Think of it as the curtain opens and you're actually like on a Broadway show. Would you stand there and wait 7 seconds or 30 seconds to get started? As soon as the curtain opens, you're on. So you smile and you dial. And sometimes it takes like even an awkward, smile to change your tone of voice. Really quick, let's try this out. Since Kelsey isn't on the phone, let's just listen to the difference between a smile and not a smile. Kelsey, are you in? Are you ready to role play just smiling with me?
Yes.
Okay, so you can tell she's smiling right now. Okay, so what you're going to do is I'm going to say hello, and you're just going to say, hi, this is Kelsey from Jeremy Olson's agency. The first one, you're going to do it without a smile. And the second one, you're going to do with a smile. Is that fair?
Yes, I'll try to not smile.
Yeah, try to not.
Really
okay, let's do the first one with a smile so you can get that smile out of there, okay?
All right.
Okay, hello?
Hi, this is Kelsey with Jeremy Olson's agency. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks, Kelsey. Okay, so next, can you get just the most negative thoughts in your head right now and not smile?
Yes.
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Hello?
Hey, this is Kelsey with Jeremy Olson's agency.
There you go. So you literally can hear the difference. So I know that it's just a small point. It's a huge point though. It's short and sweet. So smile and dial.
Well, and where this can be tough, and we hear it from our team all the time, if you're dialing all day long and, you go an hour without anybody answering, you get down on yourself and you kind of go negative, and you don't sound great on the phone when that person answers an hour later. So it's always just so important to remember to check that. You have one shot to impress this prospect and to have them want to continue the call. Next one that we like to talk about is mirror and match. So whenever you're talking to prospects or customers, you really want to try to copy their tone, their pace, their volume, any personality that they display. So if they're fun, you can tell that they have a sense of humor, have fun with them. If they speak super fast, you probably want to speak a little bit faster. If they're loud, speak louder. But just mirror the way that they are, because that's going to resonate more with them and just give you a better chance.
Yep. And then make yourself sound familiar to them. So this is something that I always think of, like at the beginning of the call. I want them to feel like I'm an old friend just checking in with them. So it's that smiling part, but then it's just, it's a little bit more of like, hey, Marissa, it's Kristen. Like, you've been waiting for my call forever. Like, so you change your tone of voice to make it sound like you're familiar to them and that they, like you're an old friend calling them. So we'll work on that tone of voice when we're talking today and doing the role play.
Well, and that leads me to the next one. So we always have a debate, it's or this is, and you actually just proved my point. To sound familiar, I really prefer using the word it's. Hi, it's Jeremy versus hi, this is Jeremy with Allstate. Just sounds a lot more formal. Like Kristen said, sound familiar. To me, it's is a lot better than this is.
But the thing is, I do use this is sometimes, and sometimes it's that mirroring thing. Like maybe somebody sounds more professional, and so they might appreciate that, or they change your tone of voice. You have to be authentic, but if somebody answered the phone in a very professional, way, I might say, hi, this is Kristen over at Jeremy Olson's agency. So I might change it. And these are tiny little things, but if you start listening to yourself when you're on the phone, you'll hear it. And then the hi or is this. So we debate all these little things, but if you're thinking about me saying, hi, Ty, this is Kristen over, I probably would say this is Kristen at that, but it's Kristen over at Jeremy Olson's agency. Or is this Ty?
Yeah.
It depends. Because if you say, is this Ty? And it's not Ty, I think that they're going to have a more negative response to you. Like, I don't even know who you're talking about. If I say, hi, Ty, and it's not Ty, you might say, oh, I think you might have the wrong person. It might be like a different response. So if you're using is this, you kind of want to be sure that it maybe is that person.
Next tip is to sound confident, but not entitled. So these people are prospects, are not customers. They don't owe us anything. We should appreciate and be thankful that they do give us some time to quote their insurance. A lot of times I hear when people get a little bit of pushback, they almost get entitled, and they are thinking to themselves, we paid for this lead. You owe us the time to talk to us. And that's just not the case. You've got to sound confident, like you've done this 1,000 times, but also appreciative versus entitled.
And sometimes I also hear people, they just, when you're making these calls all the time, and let's face it, we are going to talk to a lot of people who aren't really that pleasant. And so that's a thing that you have to actually move aside, because if you're only focusing on their negativity, you're going to mirror that. And that is not what you want to mirror. So I've heard people say stuff like, look, I'm just trying to help you out here, dude. It literally becomes this like war of who's right. And it just doesn't work. So
you didn't want to quote? Why'd you fill this out then?
Right. We actually have heard that. So just think about confidence, and it's no big deal. You bring your no big deal voice in, and we've got something going there. And this is one, like, be aware of what's going on in the background. Is a dog barking? Are there kids in the background? Did they say that they've got lots of stuff going on right now? They're, rushing out the door. You can literally hear people sometimes walking on their hardwood floors or whatever. Be aware of that, because that's going to change like your demeanor, and it's going to change maybe some questions that you ask. Maybe they're super busy and they're on their way out the door. You could actually ask them, where do you work? Just to kind of build some rapport right there. You can build off of that, and maybe it's even something you can bring into the end of the conversation as well.
And then last one, don't take it personal. They're not rejecting the proposition, or they are rejecting the proposition. They're not rejecting you. They don't know you, so don't take it personal. A lot of times we see people go down. They take these things personal, like everybody's saying they don't want to talk to me. They don't know you. Just got to move on and keep dialing.
Yeah, and I think we have to know ourselves really well. We do this thing that we test people's personalities before they actually come on board with us. What was your personality test, Ty?
I was a nurturer.
You both, that's right.
Yeah.
So you and Marissa both tested as nurturers, and do you know what that means?
I remember you saying something along the lines of like, usually this is someone that doesn't push for the sale at the end, or something of that nature.
Yeah,
and
doesn't mean you can't. It just means you have to know yourself. So nurturers take things personally. So, this is a big one for both of you when you're on the calls, because you like peace and getting along and helping people. And when people don't receive your help, you're going to think that it's something about you, that you did something wrong. So you're going to have to get over that in order to get through lots of these dials. It's just interesting. Do you guys relate to that?
Yes, I actually remember the conversation we had last week that we talked about earlier, and that's pretty much exactly what you told me.
Yep. And do you feel like you take things personally sometimes?
I do, probably more in my personal life, but I've found that on the phones, with your help and coaching, it's actually a lot easier to kind of separate from that.
Yep.
And realize that it's not me, it's the proposition.
Yep. And that's the thing, is like that self-awareness. That's it. It's not like you can't, not take things personally. It's just that's kind of, if that's your nature, then just be aware of it. That's all. So this is the debate that Jeremy and I, we love to debate these things, but we have this debate on how are you? I always say, how are you? And he usually doesn't.
Sometimes I do, but yeah, the thing that I hear all the time when people ask this is them not really meaning it and not being genuine. I get called from Comcast, from different companies, cable companies, power companies, all these different businesses. And whenever they start out with, "Hi, is this Mr. Olson? How are you today?" And you can tell they could care less. I always kind of play with them and give them some answer so I can test to see if they hear them. But if you cannot sound genuine, I would never ask this question. So some things that just drive me crazy when I hear phone calls are if somebody calls and they're trying to work a lead and they say, "How are you?" And the person says, "Oh, I'm doing terrible. I just broke my leg." And they go immediately, "Cool, let's just do that insurance quote for you." Or, "I'm doing great. I just bought the world's most rare dog ever." "Cool, let's go right into the insurance." They literally just totally don't even listen to what the person said. So if you're going to ask this, you've got to listen to their answer and take it from there. There's nothing that will drive a prospect further away than not feeling heard or like you really mean it.
And it is true. Like sometimes people normally in America, when you say, "How are you?" most people say good or fine. And then they'll say, "How are you?" And they'll return it. I do it as a temperature gauge, but like Jeremy says, you have to do it in a really genuine way. Maybe they don't give you the vibe that they're going to answer that question, so don't use it. But I do use it quite a bit when I'm calling people. And I think that people typically respond to it in a positive way because I really do mean it. But there are times where I've heard people.
That's why you do it, because you truly do mean it. You truly do care.
Yeah.
You can totally tell the people that are just reading a script. This piece of paper told me I'm supposed to ask, "How are you?"
Yeah.
And they don't even care what your answer is. If you ask this, you have to care about the answer.
Yeah. So we really are trying to pound the point home that there are several different ways of doing this, but it's just these tiny little nuances that you have to pay attention to if we're really talking about 7 seconds that make a huge difference, because you have 3 goals really within that 7 to 30 seconds, which are first, like they need to know who you are. And you're kind of telling them that with your tone of voice and with how you're hearing them. You don't have, it is so funny, like where people just don't hear. Like if someone said, "How are you today?" I've heard prospects say, "I'm actually really under the weather. I just got over COVID." "Oh, okay, really quick. I want to talk to you just about the fact that, you used to have your insurance with us and you didn't for one reason or another." And they literally go into the next thing. If people are willing to talk, like give them a little, that will tell them who you are, that you're empathetic. You have to let them know quickly why you're calling, clearly and concisely. Sometimes people belabor like why they're calling and they say it in several sentences. The reality is it probably takes 1 to 2 sentences to tell them why you're calling. And then you're letting them know what you can do for them. So these are the goals that we have, is like they have to know like why they would actually stay on the phone. So they want to know that they're staying on the phone with a person they can trust. They want to know why it would be important to them that they would stay on it. And then if they're going to get something out of it, I always say to the benefit of them. Everything you do should be to the benefit of the prospect, not the benefit of you, which brings us back around to that beginning of the conversation. If you're hunting for sales, it's the benefit of you. If you're actually trying to let them know that you're here to help them, I always think like, I'm like a really nice person to talk to, and I really want to spread that to as many people as possible. And you have to believe in yourself enough to let them know that you can do something for them. They've got to hear that in you, and you've got to be knowledgeable, have mastered your craft, and really be quick on the front end of the call here. And, the bottom line is that this all has to do with authenticity. So none of these tips that we just talked about will help you if you are not you. And so we're going to bring this out. You're going to think this role play is super, super simple. And I always say the simplest things are the hardest to achieve. And sometimes it really is hard to achieve being yourself. And I say this from personal experience. I would say for the first 15 years of my career, even, I mean, I would say within the last 10 years, really come into my own of being okay with who I am. And I had someone tell me actually the other day, one thing that I really love about you is you're always yourself. And that to me is the highest compliment. Because sometimes I can be kind of crazy and, scattered and, zany, but I am okay with that now. And you can bring out your personality on these phone calls when people respond to you, but really ask yourself when you get off, was I authentic? Did I really feel like myself? If you didn't, change something up to get a different reaction from these prospects that you're talking to. So let's role play. How's this going to roll?
Through how you're going to do it?
We can walk through, or are we just gonna do it, or should we walk through it and show them the beginning of each call, the different, we were gonna do different menu options. And so think about when you're at a restaurant, you get a lot of different options of what you want to eat. And so when you're introducing yourself, you have some few options that you can do. So the first one is the fun option. So that one is where we just introduce ourselves really quick. Do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it?
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay, so you're going to be the prospect?
Sure. Hello?
Okay. Hi, Jeremy.
Yes.
Hey, Jeremy, it's Kristen over at Allstate Insurance. How you doing today?
Great.
Yeah. So you can tell upbeat, quick, and all right, it said, how's it going today? But I say, how are you doing today? I guess that's my normal thing. The quick and efficient. This would be Jeremy. You try this one.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
Good afternoon, Kristen. It's Jeremy over at Allstate. How are you today?
I'm doing good. You sound very quick and efficient, Jeremy. Okay, the professional. So this might be that you just have more of a professional bent to you. So say hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello. I'm calling for Jeremy Olson.
This is he.
Yeah, Jeremy, this is, Jeremy, this is Kristen Isaacson over at Allstate Insurance regarding your insurance.
Next one is the casual version. So,
you want me to be casual, or you
Sure.
do be? Okay. Hey, Jeremy, it's Kristen over at Allstate Insurance. How you been? So this is the scoop. Do you guys have the scripts, Marissa and Ty, at your desk there, so we can take this actually off the screen?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I thought what we could do, and so everybody, I'd rather have people not looking at the words, but listening to you. So I thought what we could do today is we'll have Kelsey is going to play the role of the prospect, and you're going to be calling out to Kelsey. You can't see her. And I think that if you're doing the role play, blank out your screen too. So we're only listening to your tone of voice, and then I can coach to hearing what you're saying.
Perfect.
Okay, so Ty, he knew it. He knew that I was going to say Ty's going to go first, didn't you, Ty?
I did. I know you, Kristen.
Okay. So, there's your little puppy.
Whoops.
Okay, so Ty, with the first one, I'm going to just say ring, ring, and then Kelsey's going to say hello. We're going to just make this super authentic. And then we'll hear what your tone of voice sounds like. Maybe I'll do some coaching, maybe I'll not, but at the end, Kelsey's going to tell you which one she felt was most authentic to hearing your tone of voice. Okay.
Perfect.
Are you ready, Kelsey?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, Kelsey.
Yeah, this is she.
Hey, Kelsey, it's Ty over at Allstate Insurance. How's it going today?
I'm good, Ty. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks
Okay.
for asking.
Yeah, nice, Ty. You do have a very fun sound to your voice. Okay, so fun is done. Now we're moving on to quick and efficient. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Good morning. It's Ty over at Allstate Insurance.
Hey, Ty.
And you decided not to say, how are you doing today? Ty, why don't you do improv a little bit? So you said, good morning. It's Ty over at Allstate Insurance. If you don't want to say, how are you doing today, or how are you today, why don't you say, I'm just giving you a quick call about your insurance, and see how she responds.
Sounds good.
Okay, so ring ring.
Hello.
Good morning, Kelsey. It's Ty over at Allstate. I was just giving you a quick call about your insurance.
Oh, hey Ty. How are you?
Okay, so Kelsey, you're taking notes on which one you like the best, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that was quick and efficient. Okay, Ty, the professional, ring ring.
Hello.
Hello, I'm calling for Kelsey.
Yeah, this is Kelsey.
Hey, Kelsey, it's Ty Wallen over at Allstate Insurance. Just calling regarding your insurance.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, I can't wait to hear the dissertation at the end. Okay, Ty, casual. Ring ring.
Hello.
Good morning, it's Ty over at Allstate. How's it going, Kelsey?
Oh, I'm doing well, Ty. How are you?
Awesome, just checking in. Wanted to see who you have your insurance with right now.
Okay, we'll stop right there. Okay, so Kelsey and Ty, why don't you put your videos on for a second? I'd be curious. I kind of have my thoughts and my stars by the ones that I thought that sounded most authentic to Ty. What did you think, Kelsey?
Well, I mean, the casual one was a lot more conversational. Like I was getting a call from a friend, which is nice. Personally, I like efficiency. So when he just got straight to the point, like that's more my vibe. But
Yeah.
he was really fun, I would say. Like he carried that throughout all of his calls, and you could tell that he was in a good mood, or at least
Yeah.
was pretending to be.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Like fun sounded, I would say, most authentic to Ty's personality. But I think that, and I do think he brought that into almost every single one of them. I felt like fun was was more his tone of voice. But I also liked the professional tone too when he was doing the quick and efficient and, the professional. So the last one was probably my least favorite with Ty for some reason. I don't know why. So you have to play with those, Ty, and see, but like what you're hearing Kelsey say, you could even hear like that she's quick and efficient in her voice, right? She wasn't real wordy.
Totally.
Yeah. So Kelsey, you're going to have to play the role of a customer. You might want to, like, in your mind now, reset yourself because Marissa's going to talk to you. And Marissa, think about like that mirroring, like what we talked about at the beginning, and really hear Kelsey's tone of voice and see if you can mirror some of that in the next role play. Great job, Ty. You're off the hot seat. What was the value in doing that, Ty?
I think it was great just to see what I enjoy the most and what I resonate with. I think that I'm really excited to hear Marissa mirror because I think it comes down to that a lot, but trying to carry a high energy. That way they enjoy the call. That's what I care about.
And so which one did you like the best?
I like the first one the most.
Yeah.
I think I always go, "Hi, Kelsey, this is Ty at Allstate. How's it going today?"
Yeah.
And just try to give a great first impression to start off.
Yep. Okay, well, let's see. One was a cat, the one was a dog, the other one's a cat. So Marissa, I'm going to say ring ring, and you'll just do just what we did. Start with fun. Okay, so ready? Actually, let's go in reverse. Start with the casual, and we'll go up the list backwards this time to shake it up a little bit. So ring ring.
Hello.
Good morning, Kelsey. It's Marissa over at the Allstate Insurance Company. How's it going today?
Oh, I'm well, Marissa. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate it. I'm just giving you a call about your insurance today.
Okay, we'll stop right there. Did you just try the quick and efficient, Marissa?
From the script that I have, I did do the casual one, but it could be just the script that I have here.
Is the script you have that says, hey?
No, it is not. I apologize.
Okay, let's put the script up on the screen real quick. So at the bottom where it says casual and it says, hey, it'd be, hey, Kelsey, it's Marissa. So start with that one, okay? Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Kelsey, it's Marissa over at the Allstate Insurance Company. How have you been?
I've been well, Marissa. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. I'm just giving you a call about your insurance today.
Okay, stop right there. Nice job. Yeah. Okay, professional.
Ring ring.
Hello.
Hello, I'm calling for Kelsey.
Yeah, this is she.
Yes, hi, Kelsey. This is Marissa Biggs over at the Allstate Insurance Company regarding your insurance. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
Okay,
Good.
nice. Okay, quick and efficient.
Hello.
Good morning. It's Marissa over at the Olson Agency with Allstate. How are you doing today, Kelsey?
I'm good, Marissa.
Good. I'm just giving you a call about your insurance today.
Okay, stop right there. Okay, last one, fun.
Hello.
Hi, Kelsey.
Yes.
Hi, it's Marissa over at the Olson Agency with Allstate. How's it going today?
Going well.
Okay, bring your videos back on. Nice. It's fun to listen to those. Which one did you like best, Jeremy?
I would say for Marissa, I liked the professional.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to choose. What do you think, Kelsey?
Well, again, I don't have a great ear for this stuff, but I felt like she was very friendly throughout all of them.
Right.
So I enjoyed every single one. But I thought the fun one, it felt like more natural.
Yeah, I felt like the casual and the fun, those are the two that and I was kind of surprised because she's a little bit more like, I would say on the reserved side, like from what I've seen her. So I thought maybe it was going to land more in the professional side, but I think they're all good. But I like the short, like, because she has such a pleasant tone of voice, I like her keeping it like as short as possible. Yeah. So Marissa, which one did you like best?
I enjoy all of them, to be honest. I really enjoy role playing with you guys, but I'd have to say probably the fun one was the most fun for me, and I feel like that's the one I could probably get more rapport with on actual calls.
Yeah, so try it out and let us know. I would be curious from Kelsey because you hadn't seen this before or anything like that. You just participated. What do you think the value in really concentrating on this first 7 seconds is in the way that we did it today?
Oh, I mean, from personal experience, even I can tell you like how someone opens a call immediately determines whether or not I want to stay on the phone with them. Even if like I know in the back of my head what they're calling for, like if they just don't seem into it or aren't friendly enough, or I feel like they're just kind of like running through a list and I'm just a number, I don't want to talk to them.
Yep.
But if they're friendly, of course I'll stay on the phone.
Yeah. And so really that's all we do. Like every single week, we're just taking a topic and we're dissecting it to like the nth degree to try to see if we can get better at just that one little thing. Right now, the little thing is actually a huge thing. It's the simplicity of saying hello on a call. Next week, what are we doing on Tuesday? We're actually talking about negotiating coverage. So when someone gets to the point where we've actually talked to them, they say that they can understand how they need higher liability, then what do you give them? Like, how do you negotiate that and make it so that they're really bought into what they're getting? And so we're going to talk about that on the call next week. Really quick, before we get into the Q&A, we wanted to just give people a little give me. So first thing is if you're interested in finding out, like just getting a free resource that is totally positive and gives lots of content, get on our Facebook group and just join. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. So let's see, there was something in the Q&A.
Q&As.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. I was gonna say I can feed them to you guys if you don't want to.
Sure.
Oh, we can feed them. Adam says, how many times do you call a lead until you pass on it? I've heard so many different answers. So we have a very specific cadence. Do you have that memorized yet?
I don't have the cadence memorized, but I can pull it up while we answer the next question.
Yeah. And we have a guy running our lead manager, but I know the first day we call twice and we just keep going till they say no. What time of day do you call the prospects? How many times do you call the prospect on the first day? That is 2. And we call all day long. Literally, we have a daily meeting every single day, 8:30 to 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, leads go live and they're coming in. Do you text? We do not, just because my carrier, it's not super easy to do so. So we do not text. If I could, I absolutely would.
Somebody said that you remind them of the guy in Shark Tank. That's funny.
Oh boy.
The cadence is on the first day. If we don't connect on the first contact, we'll call 5 minutes after that initial contact and then 60 minutes later. So we'll try 3 times on the first day. And then they go into a cadence from day 2 to 6. The calls will be made every 5 hours. So in 5-hour intervals, it'll keep on calling them up to 6 days. And then up to 10 days after that, after the 6th day, then it's every 13 hours. And then after 10 days, it's every 13 hours again, but that is up to day 20. And then after that, they go into an interval of every 20 hours up to 90 days. So for 3 months, we're pretty aggressively trying to get a hold of them. It usually doesn't take that many days to get a hold of a prospect. I think we have like an 80% contact rate if we're in this cadence. So usually we're pretty good about making sure that we get to them.
Yeah. Michael says, how many did you say you have on your entire team? I have just shy of 40. I think we have 22 on the sales team. I have just 5 service people, and then Kristen and a few other managers, but 22 selling. And I have my sales team broken up into 2 different teams. One, both Ty and Marissa are on my inside sales team, where their job is to just field customer calls all day long. They make 100% of their sales off of those incoming service calls. They don't receive leads. Then I have my outside sales team, and they only work leads. That was a huge change we made in my agency about 2-3 years ago, separating the sales team, where we really are putting the people in the positions that they excel at. So my people that work leads, they wouldn't even know how to get in and do a change on a policy. They wouldn't know how to look up a bill. They purely work leads. For us, what we've found to be kind of the magic number on our outside team to be successful and average that 40-50 sales per month is that they need 12 new leads per day. That's what we do in my agency, 12 brand new leads every single day, 5 days a week. That will really give them the right number of at-bats to be able to succeed.
We had someone in the chat say, can you give a quick example of sounding confident versus entitled? So Ty, do you want to role play with me? So I'll do confident and entitled, okay?
Okay.
So say hello.
Hello.
Hey, Ty, Kristen Isaacson over at Allstate Insurance. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, great. Yeah, I'm just giving you a quick call. It looks like you're researching your insurance and just giving you a call to follow up on some details. Now, are you driving that 2017 Honda Accord?
I am.
So you're not interested?
Actually, Kristen, I'm not interested at this time. Can just yeah, today's not a good time.
Hey, yeah, Ty, I'm just trying to help you out here. So, you know, it looks like you filled out this information online. What's holding you up?
You know, I've just been getting a bunch of calls from others, and I think I just want to stay with my current carrier right now.
So that was, as soon as he said, I'm not interested, that's entitled. Say, I'm not interested again.
You know, I'm just not interested, Kristen.
Yeah, no worries, Ty. Now, who are you currently insured with?
I have Allstate.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, I have Farmers.
Okay, no, that's okay. Yeah, no problem. So, well, it looks like you were researching your insurance by chance. Like, what had you looking around?
Just wanted to see what else is out there.
So I've got him
for a long
talking.
time.
Like, I'm not entitled. I'm not like just getting upset that he says he's not interested. I'm just having him talking. I'm super confident that he's going to talk to me. So that's the difference.
And that's from Carlos.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos.
Another quick tip I was just going to give that, again, we've really had to learn the lead game going from 2 years ago, spending 0 to now, you know, quite a bit. We've learned a lot of things not to do and a lot of things to do. But one of the real specific things that has helped my team, when we got about 6 months into this, people were getting burnt out. Like, oh my gosh, I have to dial 200 times a day. I'm always on the phone. People aren't answering. And they were getting burnt out. And so what we did was we flip-flop days in terms of the activity. So Mondays, they are working traditional Quote Wizard leads, just the traditional ones that we call out to. Tuesdays, live transfers. Wednesdays, back to the regular leads. Thursday, live transfers. So every day they're switching. And that really keeps their mental in check, that, they go home from a tough day of not getting anybody to answer. I don't want them thinking, man, I got to come back and do that again tomorrow. Instead, they're like, oh, thank goodness I get to do something different tomorrow. And I wouldn't say that one has a better close rate than the other. For us, they've both been very similar. It's just doing a different activity. We love both types of leads, but just being able to mix that up for our salespeople, I think will keep them engaged and not burnt out a lot longer.
It looks like that is it for the questions. My favorite comment is the Shark Tank. Which one on Shark Tank do you look like?
And
Mr. Wonderful?
There are a couple more questions that were further up that came in during
Okay,
the presentation, if you guys are available.
absolutely.
Jamie wants to know, do you always use Jeremy Olson Agency, or do you ever specify Allstate? And if so, when do you do that?
Yeah, we actually had, I think that this comes down to our personalities. I mean, there's people that answer the phone that say it's a wonderful day at Allstate. This is Sonia. How can I help you? I personally like Jeremy Olson Agency or the Olson Agency. I was talking to, especially if we're talking to customers. If we're talking to prospects, we might highlight Allstate a little bit more, but if people are used to seeing Jeremy's name on their emails, and so that personalizes it a little bit more. So it really depends on who you're talking to. The Olson Agency is a more personal approach. And so I let our team members decide what works for them. But if I hear it in a call and they're coming up against like people saying, no, thank you, click, I just say, why don't you just try this and see if it works? And typically it does if you use the name of the agency versus the company first. So you could say, like, I think Marissa was saying, this is Marissa with the Olson Agency, or what did you say, Marissa? You said something with Allstate and the Olson Agency.
I usually say, this is Marissa with the Jeremy Olson Agency over at Allstate.
Yeah, and if I call people, I'll say, this is Kristen over at Jeremy Olson's Allstate. So we don't make people say it like a certain way. That's like that authenticity, please. But I like using the name in there.
Arthur asks how many people that you secure this way stay for 2 years. I assume you're meaning retention, how many customers stay. So our 0 to 2 year retention right now is 87%. We're over 90 total, and that's after 2 years of putting up. We write, I would say, on average 900 policies a month in my agency. Half are from internet leads, half are from working our current book, the incoming calls. So putting up that number of leads, the textbook would have told us that our retention would go down. And that's one of the reasons I was hesitant to get into leads, was because of that. I've really prided myself on building a quality book with good coverage, good customers, and I didn't want that to happen. So we put a lot of things in place. Number one, working on this part of the call every single day, having real conversations, having what we call the other than price conversation, not just selling them apples with apples, things like that. But then we also have a person on our team. Her title is actually called the cleanup artist. Her job is to call 100% of our lead business, 100% of those customers, and just clean things up. We realize they are a different prospect than they were shopping for their insurance. And so we call them, welcome them to the agency. And she literally says, her name's Eileen. She literally says to the customer, I know that you came to our agency by way of an internet lead, you were shopping online. And a lot of times what we find from people that do that is they kind of think they have to shop around every 6 months. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that and the value of an agency. And she just tries to get them into that mindset that having an agent, having a representative is important. And then she cleans things up. Like, hey, I noticed, one thing on your policy, it looks like you have different liability limits and uninsured motorist limits. I'm sure Ty talked to you about that, but do you remember that? And just cleans things up, because leads are different. They just are, but they are a great source of business if you work them right from the beginning and at the end.
And we had a question about how do you manage the cadence? Our phone system manages the cadence. So that's all programmed in.
Yeah, we use Ricochet. You've got to have a great lead manager if you're going to work leads. The other tip I always like to tell people, with leads when they ask me is they just are something that you can't just dabble in and say, the company gave me a little bit of money, I'm going to try a few. You've got to either be all in or not, because it takes your people time. My people at the very beginning probably averaged 15 sales a month working these things. And now our average top to bottom is closer to 50. And that's after 2 years, though, of working these things all day, every day, practicing. But if I was only getting people one lead every couple of days, or mixing it in between their other calls, they would not be as good. They need regular practice.
It just takes the focus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other ones that you can see, Kelsey?
Yes. So in the Q&A box, Susie's wondering if you guys use multiple caller IDs when you're calling out.
So I have a guy, I'm not a tech guy, I'll be the first to admit. I have a guy on my team that manages my lead team. He's constantly going to different websites to get our numbers off of those. Kelsey, you probably would be able to speak to that, I would say, more than I could, but it has been an issue. We're always trying to work on it and keep our contact rate up. That's just kind of the way of the world. We're not the only one it's affecting, but I don't know, Kelsey, if you have some suggestions.
On having multiple caller IDs?
That's just been a real issue the last year or two, and where you get marked as spam and then you can't call out.
Yeah, I've personally talked to a couple agents who always use multiple. Like if they get blocked, they just move on to the next phone number. At this day and age, it seems like something you kind of have to do in some cases.
I noticed Carlos just asked, what do you say when you say I never asked for a quote? Why are you calling me? We actually have a role play. Like, this is the great thing about what we do, is we have a role play on that. And that's where we can just refer back to our team. So you might want to try that 30 days free, Carlos, just to check out the library. There's probably every single question that you have on a role play. At this point, we have over 103 role plays in there. So chances 102. Are, 102.
Yeah, but those are, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is really the type of thing that we do on the role play show, are very, very specific. I never asked for a quote.
You're the fifth agent to call me.
I decided to stay with my current carrier. I went back to my carrier and had to match my coverage. All those things that we hear, we have a role play in the library.
And we have a script with every one of them. So that really helps in the scripts. I'm really proud of, because they look really good. And so it's easy. You can make little books out of them and stuff. And it really does help. Wouldn't you say the scripts really help, Ty and Marissa? Like, yeah, I mean, they have to say that because they work with us. But the truth is that I know that it's valuable, because it's something that I've wanted as a coach for years, to have everything in one place. And just being able to have this second business really makes a huge difference. It's just www, you have to put that in front of it, insuranceroleplay.com. Yeah, we are at the time where we need to say goodbye, and we really do appreciate all of you being on today. Kelsey, do you want to close us up?
Well, another one. What's the website? Just insuranceroleplay.com.
And with that, thank you guys so much for being here. It's always a pleasure hosting you. I always have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with you today. Yeah. You didn't know you were going to role play so much.
Yeah, I know. It's a little nerve-wracking. But we hope to have you guys on again in the future. And if you guys have any questions for Kristen or Jeremy, please feel free to reach out to the Agent Ed program, and we'd be happy to pass it on too.
I'll just also throw my email address in there. If anybody does have any questions that we weren't able to get to, always feel free to email me.
Perfect.
So it's Jeremy at insuranceroleplay.com, and then mine is Kristen at insuranceroleplay.com. So super simple.
Wonderful.
Okay. Well, with that, thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you, Ty and Marissa. You make our world turn.
Guys.
We really appreciate you being victims today.
Now back on the phones.
I know.
Yeah.
Lunch first. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.